If you're wondering about Freeman Williams, he's come off of Gene Shue's bench and poured in 16 points tonight. Points off Shue's bench, only 14 for McKinney. Ford will inbounds it. Bryant's on him. The clock will start when it is touched by someone inbounds. Ford's got time. Spencer Haywood is out there. Nixon, Magic Johnson, and Kareem. Ford sends it to Kareem. Sky hook up and good. Lakers win. Score it. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar has given the Los Angeles Lakers a victory. And Magic Johnson is out there celebrating like they just won the NCAA championship. Hotline Huntley is out there. We've got Magic Man and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Abdul-Jabbar.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. Welcome to this special edition of Major Level Entertainment. I know I feel like y'all just seen me a couple hours ago, heard from me a couple hours ago. I am your host and owner of this channel. It is your boy, Big Major. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the one that I've been waiting on. Please, when you're coming in, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button right the hell now so you can come in on all the shows that I do. This is a special one for me because Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, aka Lou Alcindor, was a guy that my father had put me on to. I remember watching as a kid, back in the late 70s. My father would sit there and watch it with my pops or whatever. I could have been older than 2 years old, maybe even less than that, sitting there watching with him. And I will always remember the name Kareem. I would always remember him touting Kareem as one of the greatest players he had ever seen. But since my dad was a Laker fan and Kareem's a Laker, of course he was like, yeah, Kareem was the guy. He was that guy. And he put it to us, all his children, that this was the dude to beat. This was the guy. You know what I'm saying? He had watched him in Milwaukee. He had, come up watching Kareem, or whatever the case may be. And then later ended up being in a position to even guard Kareem. Yes, my father was, he kind of doubled as like a guard, kind of like what I do now, bodyguarding people. He would do it because back in the 70s, back in the early 70s, and late 60s, the Black Panthers would kind of double as like bodyguards for some people, like a lot of celebrities and stuff like that. The Black Panthers, the Nation of Islam, things like that. And sometimes they would even call upon, well, in the 70s, they would call upon, Crips. Some celebrities, especially celebrities that was in and around Los Angeles, they would call upon like local gangs to be like added security and protection for celebrities and stuff like that. My father told me that he first met Kareem back in 1968. Of course, when he was still Lou Alcindor or whatever the case may be. And Pops had to be about maybe 15, 16, something like that. And he said he met him back then. And then he wouldn't meet him again until the early 70s. I think he said about 71 or 72. He met Kareem. This is right before Kareem. Just before Kareem came to Los Angeles. Kareem would do a lot of charity work and stuff, activism work and stuff like that. And then he was working with Bruce Lee and things like that. And when he would come down, he would do, films and commercials and stuff down in LA, even before he got to LA and became a Laker with different companies in LA. And my father had the pleasure of meeting Kareem. One of the times he met him was down at the Shrine Auditorium. He met Kareem way back this was in the mid 70s by this time. And he got a chance to guard Kareem and a couple other guys. And then that was my pop's experience. So he always, grew up kind of, admiring Kareem's game, the way he played, the way he played with finesse. He played with, it wasn't pretty, it wasn't flashy, but it was a steady game. And Pops always, admired Kareem, and he put that on me. Now, fast forward, I've met Kareem 3 times in my life. The first time I met Kareem was back in 1989. This is where I met him at Daniel Freeman Hospital. This is Daniel Freeman Hospital in Inglewood. It's not there anymore, but Daniel Freeman Hospital right there in Inglewood on Prairie right before you get to Manchester. It was a hospital called Daniel Freeman, and I met him there because my father was in the hospital at the time. He was getting one of his legs amputated, and Kareem was in, he was in the hospital, and he remembered my father, whatever. We saw Kareem, whatever, and I remember my brother going downstairs, and he, oh, Kareem, you remember me, and yada yada yada, and then my father this and this and that, and he said, oh yeah, and he said, my father's here. He said, wait, what are you doing here? My father, Kareem, came up and saw my father. 1989, Daniel Freeman Hospital. That's the first time I met Kareem personally. Second time I met Kareem was in Inglewood at Centinela Hospital. Centinela Hospital, I met Kareem. That's in Inglewood as well. I met him there. I was going in there to get some stitches taken out. You know what I'm saying? Haven't gotten shot or whatever the case may be. And he was coming through. As I was going in, he was coming out. He recognized me, remembered me. I remember, of course, I know who he is. He came through, shook his hand. And remember, these are all the times where there was no camera phones or anything out like that. If they was, I would have took all kind of pictures with my goat. You know what I'm talking about? That's the second time that I met Kareem. The third time I met Kareem was much older now at this point. He was at a Laker game, or he's at a Laker game. But before the Laker game, it was all at a park. It's like this Laker event out there at a park in Glendale. And met him there, saw him again. Of course, we took pictures and everything and stuff like that. Couldn't find a picture to put it up here. But those are the three times that I met Kareem in my lifetime. So it's very, very important to me to do a show about Kareem and all his accomplishments and why I say that he's a GOAT of basketball, because Kareem was an integral part of my life growing up. You know what I'm talking about? He is my GOAT to me. I know you have an NBA GOAT. People have argued and debated that there's an NBA GOAT for people, whatever the case may be. And that's fine. People are going to have their personal picks. You know what I'm saying? I got my personal favorite. I'm not going to display it because it's not up for debate or discussion. It's, for argument's sake, whatever. But when it comes to the GOAT of basketball, all the accomplishments, all the achievements in the 80-year history of basketball, 79-year history of basketball, Kareem has been my GOAT. He's been an outstanding, the most accomplished basketball player in any level of basketball and all of basketball history, ladies and gentlemen. So without further ado, let me get on to the show. Let me go ahead and give a shout out to those who have showed up to the channel. Right now, I got 3 viewers in here. Please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Let's get these views up. Y'all not doing nothing on this a Monday night. Ain't no Laker game going on. Come on in here and get some history. You know what I'm talking about? From big bro, from your uncle, from your cousin, a major. Let me go ahead and give a shout out to those who showed up. But started with little bro DJ. Y'all already know what time it is. Please go over there and subscribe to his channel if you haven't already subscribed to his channel. Go over there and become a member to Lakers at 5 right the hell now. It is not up for debate or discussion, ladies and gentlemen. Go over there and do it right now. He says, what up, what up? Shout out to little bro. I know this is the show he been waiting on, and I know he going to be listening no matter what he doing, no matter how busy he is. He going to listen because I know he feels just about the same way I feel about when I say what I say about Kareem. Being he's the man. He's the king of basketball in its entirety, not the NBA, but in its entirety. And I'm going to run down a list of everything that this man has accomplished, and no one comes close to his resume when it comes to this sport. Shout out to little bro. Thank you for showing up to the channel. He said, I can't wait for this one. You know what I'm talking about? Here it is. You know what I'm saying? Without further ado, you know what I'm talking about? Lewis, what's good, big unk? Get those likes up. Right now, subscribe to the channel if you're new. Tell a friend, tell a family member about the channel and share the damn channel. Y'all, 2 viewers. That's unacceptable. Let's get on up in here. You niggas ain't doing nothing. Get on up in here and listen at your boy rant and rave about the great Kareem, Lou Alcindor, Jabbar. You know what I'm talking about? Shout out to Lewis. H. Davis, my damn nephew. He says the same thing. What up, Unc? Like, share, subscribe right the hell now. And hit that bell. And listen. To enjoy the show, get you some popcorn, get a few laughs. I'm about to walk y'all through history. This is how we about to does this. You know what I'm talking about? H. Davis says, can't tell nobody where I'm at tonight. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about? This is a special thing. You know how he does this. You know what I'm talking about? And Big Baby Sports is here. Please go subscribe to his channel and then like his content over there. You know what I'm saying? Big Baby, salute, salute, salute. He says go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe. If you are a Laker fan, you're gonna want to come in and listen to this because a lot of you guys are younger Laker fans than I am. But I got a history and a knowledge of things. It's going to be a lot of things that y'all do know because, you know, you can do a simple, YouTube search or Google search or Wikipedia search, and it's going to be some things that you might not have known. You know what I'm saying? Or if you do know everything I'm going to tell you, it's just good to give this man his flowers. I'm personally going to do it because I've seen at least 12 years of this man's career. So I owe it to him to give him his flowers. And shout out to Big Baby, ladies and gentlemen. FYF Sports says a salute. You know what I'm talking about? Salute to FYF Sports. I think I've seen you over here before. If you are new to Major Level Entertainment, please hit that like button, subscribe, and come in and enjoy the content. You know what I'm talking about? He says, I tell people all the time, Kareem Ghost resume is unmatched. And if you're not being biased, absolutely. You know what I'm talking about? His GOAT, he said GOAT resume. That's right. Okay, so now I'm at the end of all the comments. So if you will let me, I will go ahead and get it started. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to run through just a couple things, you know what I'm saying, his awards and accomplishments, and then I'm going to get into the depths of it all. But Kareem is the GOAT of basketball because Kareem, on a basketball level, in the entirety of basketball has been around since 1946. 1946, that is 79 years. Ladies and gentlemen, Kareem is 78 years old. Basketball is only 1 year older than Kareem. And basketball is 1 year older than Kareem. And in Kareem's 78 years, nobody has accomplished more in basketball, in the history of basketball, not the NBA, but just the history of basketball than this man has accomplished on a high school level and on the college level. Let's go ahead and begin Kareem's career. 1962 to 1966, high school player, most outstanding high school player in New York and in the country. Sets the record for 2,067 points and the most rebounds, 2,002 rebounds by a high school player in New York City. The record, he set that record from 1962 to 1966. In 1966, he receives a New York State's Regent Scholarship. He accepts the scholarship to UCLA. He went to and then there begins the legendary career with the UCLA Bruins. You know what I'm talking about? He's named in 1967 to 69. He's named to the first team. He's named All-American, first All-American. He's named most outstanding player in the country, National College Athletic Association tournament. Great. This is what he's doing. He's winning already. I mean, immediately winning. He's taking his winning ways from high school over to college. You know what I'm talking about? 67 and 69, named College Player of the Year by Sporting News. That's a magazine that's been defunct since, I believe, the mid-'80s. United Press International, the Associated Press, the U.S. Basketball Writers Association, all named him National Player of the Year. National Player of the Year. That means he was the best player in the nation in those 2 years, 67 to 69. 1969 receives the Naismith Award, graduated as the leading scorer in the history of UCLA, ladies and gentlemen. 1969, by the time he graduated. 1970, he's named the NBA Basketball Rookie of the Year, of course, 1970. It's first time out, okay? 1970 through 77, and then again 79 through 89, he played in the NBA All-Star games. That is 19 NBA All-Star selections, ladies and gentlemen. 1971 to 72, he led the National Basketball Association in scoring. 1971, 1972, 74, 76, and 77, and 1980 named the league's most valuable player. That's 6 times, ladies and gentlemen. 2 times, 1971 and 1985, named most valuable player of the playoffs in the NBA. That's 2 times, ladies and gentlemen. 6 times, 71 to 1977, and then 80 to 81, and then 84, and then the year 1986. Well, actually more than that. 71 to 77, that's 6 years. 80 to 81, that's a year. That's 7. 84, that's 8. 86, that's 9. 9 times named to the All-NBA first team. 1974 to 75, and then 1979 to 81 named All Defensive first team. 1976, 75 to 76, and then again 79 to 80, led the basketball in blocked shots. 1976 led the National Basketball Association in rebounds. 1980 named to the National Basketball Association 35th anniversary all-time team. Now, he was only in the league for 10 years at this point, and he was already named to the all-time team. Already, all-time. He had only been there 10 years, all-time already. 1984, ladies and gentlemen. Now, I remember this. 1984, he broke Wilt Chamberlain's scoring record of 31,419 points in 1984. He broke Jerry West's all-time playoff scoring record in that same year. 1985, named Sports Illustrated Sportsman of the Year. 1989, he retired with the National Basketball Association with a career records for most minutes, 57,446, most points. That just was broken by LeBron in 2023, as we well know. Most points, 38,387 points, most field goals, and the first player to play 20 seasons. Ladies and gentlemen, he was the first player to play 20 seasons. And he was the first person to get to where he got to, crack the points record. When he broke Wilt Chamberlain's points record, he stood alone, nobody else, and nobody would catch him for the next the next 34 and a half years, ladies and gentlemen, until LeBron did it back in 2023. That's ridiculous. 1996. Named to the NBA Basketball Association 50th anniversary all-team. That's the second time he's named to an all-time team. In 1995, he was enshrined in the Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame, May 15th, 1995, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, that's just a rough draft of his achievements and accomplishments. Now, I often tell people, when you're thinking about the GOATs of basketball, we have our personal GOATs. The internet would say, when you're looking up Michael Jordan, he'll say Michael Jordan, one of the greatest basketball players of all times. When you're looking up LeBron's accomplishments, it'll say widely regarded as one of the greatest basketball players of all times. One of the greatest players of all times. That title, that line is mostly reserved for people of GOAT status. This is what the internet says. Now, when you're thinking of that, you hear that said about Jordan and LeBron, as if those were the only two guys. You never hear anybody say or put Kareem in the GOAT conversation because he wasn't as flashy as Jordan and he didn't look like LeBron. But guess what? If you go to type in Kareem's accomplishment or just type in his name in Wikipedia, Kareem, you know what Wikipedia would say? You know what it would say if you were to type it in? Into Google, it would say Kareem, widely regarded as one of the greatest players of all times. Ladies and gentlemen, that statement is only reserved for those of GOAT status. They don't say that about Kobe. They don't say it about Magic. They don't say it about Bird. They don't say it about Parrish. They don't say it about nobody. LeBron, Jordan, and Kareem are the only ones that say. They'll say other players are great players. Oh, considered great basketball players or considered great basketball players amongst their peers. It says widely regarded as one of the greatest players of all times. Now, that's just by the NBA standards. Okay, that's just by NBA standards. We ain't talking about the whole in its entirety, ladies and gentlemen. When he was known as Lou Alcindor, he played at Power Memorial. That was a private Catholic school, high school in New York City. He led the team to 71 consecutive wins. That's not been broken. I'm talking about 71 consecutive wins. He played college basketball for UCLA. He won 3 consecutive NCAA championships. under head coach John Wooden, legendary coach. Shout out to John Wooden. You know what I'm talking about? You know what I'm saying? He had a record three times, a record. This is a record, ladies and gentlemen. 3-time most outstanding player in the NCAA tournament. So he didn't just participate in the tournament. He was the tournament. You understand what I'm talking about? So he did what he did when he did it. I'm talking about with a traditional, his traditional and trademark skyhook shot. He did all of this with no bag, no fluff. He did it with no nothing pretty to his game. He was able to accomplish everything he was able to accomplish with the skyhook. Deadly. Came over to the Lakers in 1975, but I don't want to jump too far ahead. I want to start him off from his time in Milwaukee too. You know what I'm saying? I want to give him props for that because he did give 6 years to that organization and he did net them one championship. In his 20-year career, his teams reached the playoffs 18 times in 20 years. 18 times in 20 years. Got past the first round 14 times in 20 years and reached the finals, the NBA finals 10 times in the 20-year mark. So he got to the finals 10 times, got past the first round 14 times, and made it to the playoffs 18 times, ladies and gentlemen. Unprecedented. That's great. He did what he did. Like I say, by the time he retired in 1989 at 42. I cried the day he retired. I remember that day like it was yesterday's good food. Couldn't wait to get home to hear about the retirement. I remember they gave him standing ovations in every single arena, ladies. Even Boston that hated us and we hated them gave the Cap a standing ovation because of who he was and what he did to the game of basketball, for 20 goddamn years from 69 to 89. You know what I'm talking about? He left the game 38,387 points. He played over 1,500 games, 1,560 to be exact. He played 57,446 minutes. He made over 15,837 field goals attempted, 28,307. Blocks, 3,189. Defensive rebounds, 9,394. Then he got his personal fouls, whatever. You know, they got to throw that in there. He had almost 4,700 personal fouls or whatever. He remains the all-time leader in field goals made. You know what I'm saying? He remained the all-time leader in field goals made. I think LeBron might have passed that now. I don't know. You know, well, he did pass it. I'm just looking at this in retrospect now. You know what I'm saying? He now ranks second in points. He ranks second in minutes played. He ranks second in field goal attempts, and now he's third all time in both rebound totals. 17,440. So he's number 3 in total rebounds with 17,440. And then I think he's number 3 in block shots. Okay. ESPN named him as the greatest center of all time in 2007. That's like I said, that's for the NBA. But if you're looking at the basketball in its entirety, you know what I'm saying, you could say he's just, I'm saying he's the greatest player of all time in basketball. You know what I'm saying? I know Jokic is coming up the rear, whatever the case may be, but this is ESPN, and this is all in retrospect. Okay, he is considered the greatest college basketball player in history, and ESPN said so in 2008. You know what I'm saying? And the second best player in the NBA behind Jordan in 2016. Of course, this is before LeBron came and supplanted him by points or whatever the case may be. You know what I'm saying? He's been an actor, a pretty decent actor at that. Like I say, he's acted with Bruce Lee. He's acted in several movies, several commercials, several films, and things like that. He's been a basketball coach, best-selling author, martial artist, trained in Jeet Kune Do under Bruce Lee, like I said. Like I said, he appeared in the movie with him, most notably The Game of Death. Bruce Lee killed him. You know what I'm talking about? So those are just the things to name a few. You know what I'm saying? Okay. So his So we're going to look at. Okay, hold on. Okay, let's look at his college. Let's look at his college days. You know what I'm saying? Let's look at his college days. Oh, well, no, excuse me. Let's go back to his early days. Just to get a start up of it. So, as you all know, he was born Ferdinand Louis Alcindor Jr. in Harlem, New York. I didn't even know he was from. I thought I knew he was from New York, but I thought he was from Brooklyn. He's from Harlem, New York. To Trinidad immigrants. His dad was a immigrant from Trinidad. His uncle was a black activist, well known, and he was a medical pioneer. He kind of worked with Dr. Sebi back in the late 70s. Dr. John Alcindor, you know what I'm saying? I did know that. We knew that coming up. Get this. He was already 5'8" by the time he was age 9. By the time he was 13, he was 6'8" and can already dunk a basketball. At 13, he was already 6'8", ladies and gentlemen. He was destined to be a tall dude. You know what I'm talking about? He wore the number 33. He's wore that number since high school when he played with Power Memorial. And he chose that as a tribute to his favorite player, a New York Giants fullback, Mel Triplett. If y'all don't know who Mel Triplett is, I might have to do a show on Mel Triplett. You know what I'm saying? He was a great player for my New York Giants. You know what I'm talking about? He would continue to wear the number throughout his college and professional career. You know what I'm saying? He led Jack Donahue's team to 3 straight New York City Catholic championships. This is high school, ladies and gentlemen. This is where the winning begins. We're about to get to the meat and potatoes of this. He led Coach Jack Donahue's, Jack Donahue's a legendary coach in New York City. He led Jack Donahue's team to 3 straight New York City Catholic championships, a 71-game winning streak. Overall, his team went 79-2 in those 3 seasons. 79-2. He only lost 2 times in 3 years, ladies and gentlemen. 2 times in 3 whole entire years. And I think those 2 years that are the 2 games that they lost, if I'm not mistaken, he didn't play. So there you go. There's something to be said about that. That's where he earned the nickname the Tower of Power. You know what I'm talking about? Like I said, he had 2,067 total points at New York City High School, which was a high school record at that time. Okay. That's that. Okay. So that's high school. Record of 79-2 all throughout high school. 3 years, he only lost twice in 3 goddamn years. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't think that's ever been done before. Matter of fact, I'm sure that's never been done. You know what I'm talking about? He goes to college. Now he's age 18. He's 7 foot 1 inches tall. You know what I'm saying? He was relegated to the freshman team and his first year with the Bruins. As freshmen were ineligible to play varsity until 1972. The freshman squad were all high school Americans. They became all Americans. In November 1965, Lou Alcindor made his first public appearance in UCLA annual varsity freshman exhibition game, attended by over 12,000 people. Okay. The freshman team won. This is Lou Alcindor's team. They won behind Lou Alcindor's 31 points and 21 rebounds, ladies and gentlemen, as a freshman. They won by a score of 75-60 behind Lou Alcindor's 31 points and 21 rebounds. It was the first time a freshman team had beaten the UCLA varsity squad. He beat the UCLA varsity squad. And he accounted for almost half the points of the team. That's ridiculous. The varsity had lost to Gail Goodrich and Keith Erickson. Y'all don't know who Gail Goodrich and Keith Erickson is. Gail Goodrich ended up playing for the Lakers, later in his career. Please look those guys up if you want to know more about them. Keith Erickson from the championship squad to graduate. And then starting guard Freddie Goss, I know who Freddie Goss is, was out sick. After the game, UPI wrote, you know what I'm saying? They wrote, UCLA Bruins open defense to their national the basketball title this week. But right now, they're only the second best team on the campus. The freshman team was 21-0 that year, dominating against the junior college and other freshman teams as Alcindor averaged 33 points and 21 rebounds per game. So in his freshman year, ladies and gentlemen, that in the whole year in its entirety, he went 21-0, not losing. The freshman team not losing at all. He averaged 33 points and 21 en route to those 21 that 21.0 or 21-0 run that they had in the freshman year. Okay. Alcindor as a sophomore, made his varsity debut as a sophomore in 1966 and received national coverage. Sports Illustrated described him as the new superstar after he scored 56 points in the first game. This 19-year-old dude scored 56 points in his first varsity game as a sophomore, which is still an NCAA record for a player in their debut. Ladies and gentlemen, it gets dumber than that. He scored 61 points later in that season for an average of 29 points per game, 15.5 rebounds per game, which correlates to 16 rebounds per game. He led UCLA to an undefeated 30-0 record that year. So in his first year, he led them 21-0 that year. The next year, he led them 30-0 the next year. So together, that's a total of 51 wins and 0 losses thus far. It gets dumber than that, ladies and gentlemen. And a national championship, their third title in 4 years, the first of 7 consecutive titles. After the season, the dunk was banned in college in an attempt to curtail his dominance. They stopped allowing dunks in college because they thought that would slow down his dominance, ladies and gentlemen, but it didn't. Critics dubbed it the Alcindor rule. He had the Alcindor rule. He had his own rule in college, ladies and gentlemen. I could stop there right the fuck now, and that alone. Now, they'll normally give that to a star NBA player, a rule. This motherfucker was in college, 19 years old, not even 20 years old yet, not even a grown man legal enough to buy liquor and smoke cigarettes yet. And they gave this nigga a rule because he was so goddamn dominant. They had to curtail his dominance by banning the dunk in college. And they called it the Alcindor rule. I bet y'all didn't know that. I bet y'all didn't know nothing about an Alcindor rule. Hell, I didn't even know about an Alcindor rule. That's ridiculous. It was not rescinded until 1976. That's when they brought it back. By this time, he was already in NBA. You know what I'm talking about? Alcindor was the main contributor to the team's 3-year record of 88 wins and only 2 losses. Ladies and gentlemen, in his entire career in college, he had 88 wins and only suffered 2 losses. Those 2 losses don't count to a goddamn thing. He was the main contributor to those 88 wins and 2 losses in his entire years in college. Just like in his entire years in high school, ladies and gentlemen, he only lost 2 times. That is fucking ridiculous. 2 times in college, 2 times in high school. You might as well say that those are 0 times. You might as well say he never lost. You know what I'm talking about? And one of those losses was to the University of Houston, in which Alcindor had an eye injury. Get this. He had an eye injury. And the other to a crosstown rival in USC who played a stall game. There was no shot clock in that era, allowing the Trojans to hold the ball as long as they wanted before attempting to score. They limited Alcindor to only 4 shots for 10 points. That's the reason they fucking lost. So the only time he had 2 losses, ladies and gentlemen, stick with me now. In his years in college, 88 wins, 2 losses. Those 2 losses came because he had an eye injury in one game and because there was no shot clock era back at the time. You could hold the ball as long as you wanted to, and that only allowed for him to get 4 shots. But in 4 shots, ladies and gentlemen, he was able to get 10 points. That go to show you how efficient he was. Let's say he got 10 shots or 14 shots or whatever the case may be. It probably would have won the fucking game. So those only by those extenuating circumstances that he lost those 2 times in college. They had to cheat to beat Kareem. They had to cheat to beat Kareem. During his college career, Lou Alcindor was a 3-time national player, 1967, 68, 69. A 3-time unanimous First American, 1967, 68, and 69. Played on 3 NCAA championship teams, 67, 68, 69. Was honored as the most outstanding player in the NCAA tournament 3 times. And became the first ever Naismith College Player of the Year in 1969. He started it off, ladies and gentlemen. He is the precursor, the progenitor of this GOAT shit that y'all niggas talk about. You understand what I'm talking about? He was the only player to win the Helms Foundation Player of the Year award 3 motherfucking times. He considered transferring to Michigan, which is my personal favorite college, because of unfulfilled recruiting promises. UCLA player Willie Nollis introduced Alcindor to teammate Lucius Allen to the athletic booster Sam Gilbert, who convinced the pair to remain at UCLA. So that was a good decision for him to do that. Okay. During his junior year, he suffered a scratched cornea. That was 1968 in the game against UC Berkeley. When he was struck by Tom Henderson in a rebound battle. He missed the next 2 games against Stanford and Portland. His cornea would be again scratched during his pro career, which subsequently caused him to wear goggles. This is how he started wearing those trademark goggles that he put on. It all started in 1968, ladies and gentlemen, for eye protection. Okay. On January 20th of that year, the Bruins faced coach Gary Lewis's Houston Cougars in the first ever nationally televised college game. This is the very first one. You know what I'm talking about? And they faced them to an audience of 52,693 in attendance at the Astrodome. These college dudes were so good that they were allowed to play at the Astrodome. Y'all know the Astrodome, that's in Houston, Texas. You know what I'm talking about? And the contest billed as the game of the century. If it is on YouTube, please go look up that game. Please go look up the game between the Houston Cougars and UCLA. Cougar forward Elvin Hayes scored 39 points and 15 rebounds, while Alcindor, suffering from his eye injury, was just held to 15 points as Houston went ahead and won. Notice every time he's hurt or down, or whatever the case may be, their team would lose, but they only barely lost 71-69. They had to cheat. They had to injure him just for them to beat his team by 2 fucking points, ending UCLA's 47-game win streak. Hayes and Alcindor had a rematch in the semifinals of the NCAA tournament, where UCLA, with a healthy Alcindor, defeated Houston 101-69. Hold on. Fall back for a second. See what a healthy Alcindor did? A healthy Alcindor defeated Houston 101-69 en route of a national championship. NCAA limited Hayes, who was averaging 38 points per game, to only 10 points. When you don't cheat a great like that, you get your ass whooped. But you got to cheat to barely beat a great like that. This is Kareem, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, no, excuse me. This is Alcindor. This ain't Kareem yet. Because the dumb shit he about to do when he gets to the NBA is just foolish. John Wooden credited his assistant Norman for devising the diamond and one defense that contained Hayes. The diamond and one defense. I wish they would bring that shit to the NBA. The diamond and one defense. I'll explain that later down the line. Sports Illustrated ran a cover story on the game and used the tagline, "Lou's Revenge, the Route of Houston." As a senior in 1968 and 69, Alcindor led the Bruins to their third consecutive national title, 3 titles in a row. During the summer of 1968, he took Shahada twice and converted to Sunni Islam from Catholicism. That's what he did. Okay. Then he adopted the name Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, but he did not publicly start using it until 1971. So he's been Kareem Abdul-Jabbar since 1968, but couldn't publicly use it until 3 years later in 1971. He was attesting the inequality of the treatment of African Americans in the United States, stating that he was trying to point out to the world the futility of winning the gold medal for this country and then coming back to live under oppression. So he was an activist very, very early on, very early into his career. He was around the time of, he was around Farrakhan and guys like that. And he had just missed Malcolm X or whatever the case may be, but he was around those guys, the Nation of Islam, whatever. And he went and became a Sunni Muslim, and that's what he's been in practice. And he's had that name, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, now for 57 years. So he stuck with it. Okay. As the NBA didn't allow underclassmen to make an early NBA draft declaration, Alcindor completed his studies and earned a bachelor's degree with a major in history in 1969. In his free time is when he practiced martial arts. He studied Aikido in New York between his sophomore and junior years before learning Jeet Kune Do under Bruce Lee in Los Angeles. Bruce Lee used to have a dojo. Bruce Lee and Chuck Norris had a dojo down in Watts. It's now called Mufundis, or it was called Mufundis, at least when I was coming up. But I remember that they both had a dojo in Watts, and it was cheap to get in there to go to some of the classes and things like that. I remember that. That was in the 70s and early 80s before they shut it down and turned it into a college. Just a little bit of history for those of y'all that don't know. Okay, his school records. As of 2019 to 2020, UCLA Bruins men's basketball season, he still holds or shares, at that time, I don't know, it might have changed by now. He still holds or shares a number of individual records at UCLA. Highest scoring average, 26.4. Most field goals, 943, tied with Don McClain. Most points in the season, 870 points in 1967. Highest season scoring average, 29 points in 1967. Most field goals, 346 in 1957. Also, the second most at 303. So he has the most field goals and the second most field goals, 1967 and 1969, and the third most field goals in 1968 at 294. Most free throw attempts in the season, 274 in 1967. Most points in the single game, 61 points. This is a college player now. The most points in a college debut, 56 points. The most field goals in a single game, 26 field goals versus Washington State, February 25th, 1967. He is represented in the top 10 in a number of other school records, including seasons, rebounds, total rebounds, second to only Bill Walton in rebounds. Another great center of all times. Okay, let's go over to his Bucks career. Now, instead of reading all his career, I'm going to start getting down into his stats. Because now we're building Kareem Abdul-Jabbar now. This is who he is. So as we know, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar played with the Bucks 1969 to 1975, ladies and gentlemen. He played 82 games that year. First year, 1969, rookie season. Averaging 43 minutes. He had 43 minutes. He shot 52% from the field. He's never been a great free throw shooter. He shot 65% from the free throw. He averaged 15 rebounds a game. He averaged 4 assists per game. Blocks and steals wasn't relegated at that point. They wasn't counted. And he averaged 29 points per game that year. Second year over, 1971. That's when they won the NBA championship, his first NBA championship. He won his first NBA championship his second year out. Ladies and gentlemen, he played 82 games. He averaged 40 minutes. He shot 58%. See, his percentage shot up. He shot 69 from the field. He averaged 16 rebounds per game, 3 assists per game. Once again, blocks and steals was not counted at that point as a stat. He averaged 32 points per game that season. The very next year over, 1971-72 season, that's the season the Lakers won the championship, I believe it was. He played 81 games. He averaged 44 minutes, shot 57% from the field, shot 69% from the free throw. He averaged 17 rebounds. He averaged 5 assists. He averaged 35 points a game. Once again, steals and blocks was not counted. They didn't start counting steals and blocks in 1974. 1973, his fourth year in the league and with Milwaukee, 76 games, 43 minutes per game, shooting 55% from the field. 3 points didn't even count for him. He didn't shoot no threes. And plus, the 3-point line didn't even really come into fruition until 1979 with Chris Ford, Boston Celtics. Chris Ford shot 70% from the free throw. He averaged 15 rebounds again. Okay, he averaged 5 assists. Now here come the steals. He averaged 1 steal a game, and he averaged 4 blocks a game, ladies and gentlemen, with 27 points per game. 27 points per game. Okay, that's Milwaukee. I think I skipped a year. Oh no, that's okay. Okay, that was his 5th year. 4th year, 76 points, 43 minutes, 50. Okay, I already read that to you guys. Okay, year number 6 in his final year with Milwaukee. Played 65 games. He averaged 42 minutes, shot 51% from the field, shot 76% from the free throw. He averaged 14 rebounds per game. He averaged 4 assists per game, 3 blocks per game, and 1 whole steal per game. This is a motherfucking center averaging a full steal per game. But it gets dumber than that, ladies and gentlemen. And he averaged 30 points that year. Ladies and gentlemen, his very first year with the Lakers, he plays 82 games. Now he's in year 7. 82 games. 1975. I was born now. 1975. He plays 82 games, starts 82 games, averages 41 minutes, shoots 53% from the field, shoots 70% from the free throw. He averages more rebounds than he has ever averaged in his career at 17 rebounds, 16.9 to be exact. He averages 5 assists. Ladies and gentlemen, he averages 2 steals as a center. 2 steals as a center. Slow Kareem, everybody thought was slow, averaged 2 steals as a center. Defense was off the charts and averaged more block shots than he's ever averaged before in his career up to that point at 4.1 blocks per game, at 28 points per game in 1975-76 season. And the year your boy was born. You know what I'm talking about? A shout out to damn Kareem, 1975. 1976, the very same year, next year over. 82 games, started 82 games, averaged 37 minutes. Minutes went down a little bit. Averaged 37 minutes, shot his highest field goal percentage at that point ever. I think he led the league in field goal percentage at that point too, shooting 58%. He shot 70% from the free throw. He averaged 13 rebounds per game. He averaged 4 assists per game, 1 steal a game, 3 blocks per game, at 26 points per game. 1977-78. Played 62 games. He averaged 37 minutes, shot 55% from the field, shot his highest free throw percentage ever at 78%. He averaged 13 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals a game, and 3 blocks of a game at 26 points per game. 1979, 1980, he averages, here come Magic, he averages 80, he plays 80 games. He averages 40 minutes. He shoots 58% from the field, 74% from the free throw. He averages 13 rebounds per game. He averages more assists than he's ever averaged before at 5.4 assists. That's 5 assists per game, 1 full steal, 4 blocks per game, ladies and gentlemen, at 24 points per game. Now here comes Magic, ladies and gentlemen, and his second championship, 1979-1980. He plays 82 games. He averages 38 points, 0.3 minutes per game. He shoots his highest percentage ever. Shoots over 60% from the field, ladies and gentlemen. The 3-point shot has now been implemented. He's zeros across the board for the threes. He shot 77% from the free throw line. He averaged 11 rebounds a game. Now, this is what Magic Johnson now, the new star over here now. Still putting up these numbers, still giving you a steal a game, still giving you 3 blocks a game, and giving you 25 points per game. He did this with Magic on the team. A bustling rookie who came in balling. You know what I'm talking about? 1980, 81, 80 games, 37 minutes per game, 57% from the field, no threes, 77% from the free throw line, averaging 10 rebounds again, averaging 3 assists. He's averaging 1 steal, and he's averaging 3 blocks, 26 points per game, ladies and gentlemen. The next year over, 81, 82, 76 games played, 76 games started, 35 minutes, shooting 58% from the field, no threes, 71% from the free throw, averaging 9 rebounds per game, averaging 3 assists per game, a steal, and 3 blocks per game, ladies and gentlemen, still averaging 24 points per game. 1982, he played 79 games, 82-83 season, 79 games, averaging 32 points. His minutes has gone down. Minutes have gone down, shooting 59% from the field, no threes, of course, 75% from the free throw line. He's averaging 8 rebounds a game. He's averaging 3 assists a game. He's averaging 1 steal per game, and he's averaging 2 blocks per game. And his points have gone down to 22 points per game. But like I say, his minutes have gone down. Okay? Same thing. The next year over, 83-84 season. 80 games started, 80 games played. He averages 33 minutes per game. Shot 59% from the field, no threes. 72% from the free throw line. Averaged 7 rebounds, averaged 3 assists, averaged a steal, and averaged 2 blocks a game at 22 points per game. The 84-85 season, you know, I'm talking about they won again. This is now his 4th championship. He's already won 3 with the Lakers, 79, 81, 79, 80, 81, 82, and then 84-85. This is his 4th championship and his 3rd with the Lakers thus far. 79 games played, 79 games started, averaging 33 minutes per game, shooting 60% from the field, no threes, shooting 73% from the free throw line, 8 rebounds per game, 3 assists, 1 steal, 2 blocks per game with 22 points per game. 1985, Boston beat the shit out of us. I hated that. Them motherfuckers. I hated that. They beat us. 79 games started, 79 games played, 33 minutes average, 56 points shooting on his shooting percentage. No threes. Shot 77% from the free throw line. He averaged 6 rebounds per game. He averaged 4 assists, 1 steal, 2 blocks at 23 points per game, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, this is where Kareem is starting to go down now. 1986, the Lakers win the championship. He is no longer the guy that he once was. At this time, we have a bustling young center coming in at this time. And that center is Michael Thompson. I think before that, was it who we have? We have Mark McNamara. I can't remember, but I know Michael Thompson was coming in. He came in that next year over. But so his minutes dwindled even further. Thus far, he's played his lowest minutes. He's played 31 minutes. He played all 78 games. Now, mind you, Kareem is old at this point. I think he's like 38. He's 38, 39, going into 40 at this time. And he still gave you 78 games at 31 minutes. He's still shooting 56% from the field. Now he's shooting 33% from the 3 because I think he had took 3 3-point shots that year and only made 1 of them. So he shot 33%. That's the only time it will ever register on his career. It didn't register any other time. He shot 71% from the free throw. He averaged 7 rebounds per game, 3 assists, 1 steal, and 1 block per game. And he still was putting up 18 points at 40 years old. Not too bad, ladies and gentlemen, at that time, especially with these new guys coming up, you know what I'm saying, coming into fruition. He still was able to do what he's able to do. 41-year-old Kareem Abdul-Jabbar gave you another 80 games played, 80 games start. Now his minutes have dropped under 30. Now he's averaging 29 minutes per game. Still shooting 53%. No from the 3. 76% from the free throw line. 6 rebounds. 2 assists. A half a steal and 1 full block per game at 41 years old and averaging 15 points a game and 29 minutes of action, ladies and gentlemen. So his minutes dwindle, his points dwindle. He's 41, mind you. 42 years old, his last final year in basketball, having won 6 championships. 1987 and 88 was his last time he won before the Detroit Pistons took over for the 88-89 scene. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar played 74 games at 42 years old. Started 74 games at 42 years old. He only put up 23 minutes. He shot his lowest from the field goal percentage, which was 48%. I remember telling the story on Lakers in 5 that I remember when Kareem was, I was talking to my dad, and like, Dad, he's missing something's wrong with Kareem. Why is he missing everything? Pops was like, he's getting older. And even at that age, 42 years old, in 23 minutes of action, he still shot 48% from the field, shot 74% from the free throw line. He only gave you 5 rebounds this time. He only gave you 1 assist this time. He gave you a half a steal, but he was still giving you a block. That old man was still getting up there, swatting shit out the air. But he was only giving you 10 points a game, ladies and gentlemen. The last 3 years of Kareem was winding down, and I seen the regression. Kareem's career points, his whole career stats for the regular season in the NBA, 15,060 games played. 1,560 games played, 1,560 games played, 789 games started. His career is 37 minutes. That's his career, what he averages in minutes, 37 minutes. His career field goal shot is 56%. He shoots a career 56% from the field. His career, he's a career 72%er from the free throw. Never been that great of a free throw. Career 11 rebounds per game. Career 4 assists per game. Career 1 steal per game. And career 3 blocks per game, ladies and gentlemen. And a career 25 points per game. So he is a career 25, 11, and 4 guy with 3 blocks, ladies and gentlemen. That's Kareem's NBA career. That's not why he's the GOAT of basketball. He's the GOAT for everything he's done, including up into his career. If you count basketball in its entirety, not the NBA GOAT, but basketball on a global spectrum. Let's get to his playoffs. 1970 with the Milwaukee Bucks. Remember, he went to the playoffs 5 times with Milwaukee. He went to 70, 71 when they won, 72, 73, and 74. Okay, in each one of those games, his rookie year, he played 10 games. He averaged 35. I'm not going to do the minutes per game. He averaged 35 points. That's the most he's ever averaged in the playoffs. Remember, I told you ballers always stepping up in the playoffs. All his numbers that he had in the regular season, they all shot up when he went to the playoffs, ladies and gentlemen. And guess what? They even shot up as he got older when he was getting ready to leave the Lakers. So all the way to the end, his point percentage, rebounds, blocks, and everything else went up, even as he was getting older, whenever they got to the playoffs, ladies and gentlemen. Further testament to his greatness. So 1970, he averaged 35 points, 17 rebounds, and 4 assists. He was a 35, 7, and 4 guy. 17 and 4 guy in the playoffs in 1970. 71, he played 14 games. He was 27, 17, and the 3 guy. Just to put it into perspective. 1972, his 3rd year in the NBA. 3rd time in the playoffs. He's a 29, 18, and 5 guy. 18 rebounds in the playoffs is the most he's ever done in his career. 18 rebounds in the playoffs and 5 assists is the most he's done in his career in the playoffs. So he's a career 29, 18, and 5. That sounds like some Jokic type shit, don't it? 29, 18, and 5, minus the assists, of course. Remember, blocks and steals didn't count yet. But in 1972, he was 29, 18, and 5. 1973, his 4th year with Milwaukee, his 4th time in the playoffs. Played 6 playoff games. He was a 23, 16, and 3 guy. 23 points, 16 rebounds, 3 assists guy. His 5th year with Milwaukee, played 16 games 1974. He was a 32, 16, and 5 guy. He was 32 points, 16 rebounds, 5 assists per game. Now here come the blocks and steals. This is his stat line for 1974, his 5th year, 5th time going to the playoffs. Stat line, 32 points, 2 blocks per game, 1 steal per game, 5 assists per game, 16 rebounds per game was his stat line, ladies and gentlemen. That's ridiculous. But it gets dumber than that because his first time with us, going to the playoffs in 1977, he played 11 games. He shot 60%. You know what his stat line was, ladies and gentlemen, 1977, 30-year-old Kareem? His stat line was 35, 18, and 5. 35, 18, and 5 again. With the Lakers, his first year out in 11 games in the playoffs. 35 points per game, 18 rebounds per game, 4 assists per game, 2 steals a game, and 4 blocks per game. That's stupid. It don't get any better because 1978, the next year over, he was a 27, 14, and 4 guy. Again, 4 full blocks, 1 steal per game. Guess what? If you think it was safe to go back in the water, 1979, his 8th time in the playoffs. 3rd time with the Lakers. He's a 29, 13, and 5 guy. 4 blocks and steal, 1 steal per game. 29, 13, 5, 4 blocks, and 1 steal. That's his stat line. Going into 1980, it gets even stupider than that. He's a 32, 12, and 3 guy. 32 points, 12 rebounds, averaging 4 blocks, averaging 1 steal per game, and averaging 3 assists per game. That's dumb. Hold on. I ain't finished yet. 1981. He's a 27, 17, and 4 guy with 1 steal and 3 blocks. That nigga was averaging 17, 16, 15 rebounds per game routinely, per season routinely. That's crazy. That's 81. Here come 82 when a Worthy comes over here. You know what I'm talking about? He was a 29 and 4 guy. That's not bad. 29 and 4 is not bad at all. 20 points, 9 rebounds, 4 assists. Not bad at all. 14 games to play, 1982. And we won the championship that year. 1983, 27, 8, and 3 guy. Still averaging 4 rebounds, still averaging 1 steal per game. 1984, a 24, 8, and 4 guy. Still averaging 2 blocks per game, still averaging 1 steal per game. The fact that he was able to get a steal. See, I don't think y'all understand how good he was on defense. That dude, that tall, that big, that heavy, was able to get steals routinely. At least a steal. Do you know how hard it is to get 1 steal? And he's a center getting steals. He averaged almost 2 steals for his career. That's ridiculous. That's 1984. 1985, when we win again. By this time, this is his 4th championship. 19 times he played and started in the playoffs. He was 22, 8, and 4 guy, averaging 1 steal and averaging 2 blocks per game in the playoffs. This is playoff record now, playoff numbers now. 1986, when we lost to the Boston Celtics, he averaged 26 points in the playoffs. 26, 6, and 5 and 4. He averaged 2 blocks. He averaged 1 steal. He's getting older now. 1987, at 40 years old. He averages 19 points, 7 rebounds, 2 assists, a half a steal, 2 blocks per game at 40. This is the playoff. This is the playoffs now. Still contributing. 1988 at 41, he averages 14 points, 6 rebounds, 2 assists, a half a steal, still giving you 2 blocks a game. Now, his regular season. 1987, his regular season average went up in the playoffs from the regular season. 1988, his regular season average went up in the playoffs from his regular season. And then 1989, his last season, his point production still went up in the playoffs in 1989 in 15 games. 1988, he won his 6th and final championship. Played 24 games. He averaged 14, 6, and 2. Averaged 1 steal or half a steal and 2 blocks per game. And then in his final year, his final time going to the playoffs, his retirement year, played 15 games, started 15 games. He averaged 11 points, 4 rebounds, 1 assist, almost nothing on the steals, and almost 1 full block. Kareem, for his career in the playoffs, has played 237 career playoff games. He started in 90 of those career playoff games. He shot 53% for a career. He gave you 11 rebounds for a career, 3 assists for a career, 1 steal for a career, and 2 blocks for a career at 24 points per game. So he's a career in the playoffs, 24, 11, and 3 guy. Ladies and gentlemen, that's Kareem's stats. I already ran down to you all his accomplishments leading up to this point in time. Now, I'm going to quickly go through his NBA stuff because I did everything else in detail, but I'm going to quickly go to his NBA stuff to put it in retrospect before I wind up the show and get to reading the comments. In Kareem's 20-year career, ladies and gentlemen, like I say, I was blessed to see 12 of those years. From 1977 to 1989, I watched Kareem. You know what I'm saying? I started off watching with my dad, and I started watching him on my own after a while. In 20 years of action, Kareem has given you 6 championships, just like everybody's precious Jordan, 6 championships. 1971, 1980, 1982, 1985, 87, and 88. I seen the last of those 5. I seen the 80, 82, 85, 87, and 88. I was glad to witness that. Matter of fact, 1980 was the first championship I ever was alive to witness. So he won 5 with us. He won 1 with Milwaukee. Ladies and gentlemen, Giannis, hint, hint. He went 1 with Milwaukee, come over here, and went 5 with the Lakers. You could do what Kareem did. You know what I'm talking about? Giannis. He got 2 NBA Finals MVPs, 1971 and 1985. 6 NBA MVPs, 71, 72, 74, 77, 78, and 80. Or excuse me, 77 and 80. 19 All-Star appearances. From 1970 through 1977, he every single year, 71, 72, 73, 74, 5, 6, and 7. And then 1979 to 1989. The only time in his career that he did not go to the All-Star game was in 1978, ladies and gentlemen. He went every goddamn year like how LeBron goes every motherfucking year. That's ridiculous. 15 All-NBA. 10 first teams, 1971 through 74, 76 through 77, 80, 81, 84, and 86. 5 NBA second teams, 1970, 78, 79, 83, and 85. 11 NBA all-defensive teams, 5 first defensive teams, 74, 75, 79, 80, and 81. 6 times he went to second team, all defensive team, NBA. 70, 71, 76, 77, 78, and 1984. 1970 Rookie of the Year, NBA Rookie of the Year. 1970 All NBA Rookie First Team. 2-time scoring champion, 71, 72. NBA rebounding leader in 1976. 4-time NBA blocks leader in 1975 to 1976, 77, 79, and 80. Elected to the NBA 35 anniversary team. One of the 50 greatest players in NBA history in 1996, and he still holds his place there. Elected, he's still among the top 5 greatest players of all times. Elected to the NBA All-75 team in 2021. Number 33 retired with the Milwaukee Bucks and retired by the Lakers. Retired by 2 different organizations. Statue of him built in front of Staples Center, unveiled November 16th, 2012. As a coach, USBL Championship, 2002. As an assistant coach, 2-time NBA champion, 2009 to 2010. In the media, 6-time Sporting News NBA MVP, 71, 72, 74, 76, 77, and then 1980. 2-time Sam Davis Memorial Award, 1971, 1974. Sports Illustrated Sports Person of the Year 1985. Sporting News Rookie of the Year magazine. Sporting News no longer exists. Ty Turkin Memorial Award 1970. The Associated Press NBA 1970s All Decade First Team. The Academy of Achievement Golden Plate Award 1989. The Marca Leyenda Award. The Marca Leyenda Award is an award given by the Spanish newspaper The Marca for best sports professional in history. A Spanish newspaper gave him an award for the best sports person in history. This is a Spanish newspaper. Sports Illustrated Muhammad Ali's Legacy Award 2016. And the W.E.B. Du Bois Medal in 2022. Ladies and gentlemen, those are all his NBA accomplishments. Just in case y'all didn't hear it, I can run back through his high school and then I can bring it up to his NCAA. I'll just run right through it real quick. In high school, 2 times Mr. Basketball USA 1964 to 65. 3-time first team parade All-American 63, 64, 65. 3-time SAA champion. It's a high school champion. 1963, 64, and 65. That's his high school accolades. NCAA, 3-time National College Player of the Year. 3-time Helms Foundation Player of the Year. 3-time I'm going to go right through these real quick. 3-time Associated Press Basketball Player of the Year. 3-time Sporting News Basketball Player of the Year. 2-time Oscar Robertson Trophy winner. 2-time UPI College Basketball Player of the Year. Naismith Basketball Player of the Year 1969 before his graduation year. 3-time Consensus First-Time All-American. 3-time AP First-Time All-American. 3-time USBWA First-Time All-American. 3 times NABC First Team All-American. 3-time UPI First Team All-American. 3-time NCAA champion. 3-time NCAA tournament most outstanding player. 3-time Pac-8 regular season champion. 3-time first team all Pac-8 champion, or all Pac-8 team. 3-time Pac-8 scoring champion 3 times, 67, 68, and 69. 3-time Pac-8 rebounding leader 3 times. Pac-12 player of the 20th century. Pac-12 player all time of all century team, the all century team. In 100 years, all century team, top player in 100 years in college. Number 3 retired with the UCLA Bruins. The UC Presidential Medal of 2024. Pac-12 records. Most points, points per game, career 26.4, excuse me. Most points per game, single season in high school, 1967, 19 years old, 20 years old, 29 points. Total points in a single season, 1967, 870 points. Ladies and gentlemen, this is my goddamn GOAT of basketball. Nobody's more accomplished on every single front, from high school all the way up to 1989 when he finally took his last hook shot. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, ladies and gentlemen, is the undisputed GOAT of basketball because nobody did it on every single scale from 1960. Nobody's did it on every single scale, excuse me. No, on every single scale, all the way from 1964, all the way up to 1989, ladies and gentlemen. Excuse me, give me 1 second. 1 second. In Kareem's entire basketball career, in his entire basketball career, starting all the way from back in his time in high school, from a 15-year-old kid all the way up to 1989 at 42 years old. So from 15 to 42 years old, nobody did it like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. From junior high school all the way up to the time he got left to the NBA, got to the NBA and then left the NBA. Nobody has done more in the game, in the sport of basketball, on every single level than Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, ladies and gentlemen. And for that, I deem him my all-time GOAT of basketball, period. NBA, you can have your arguments, but there is no argument. It doesn't come close to a mile with this guy. Kareem is my undisputed all-time GOAT of the sport of basketball, ladies and gentlemen, ever since Dr. Naismith created the goddamn shit. That's not up for debate or discussion. Now, let me go ahead and get to these chats. Okay, where we at? Salute to Trey all day. He said, salute, Big Major. West up. Shout out to Trey all day, man. Thank you for showing up to the channel. Thank you for sticking with me while I just go down memory lane with some people, whatever the case may be, and give Kareem his flowers, because people seem to have forgotten about him. But niggas like me is gonna make sure that we uphold his memory to up high while he's still here, giving him his flowers while he's still here. Because when you talk about the GOAT debate, he's never really mentioned these days. But those of us who've seen him, know what the fuck he's done for this entire game of basketball in this 80-year history. The NBA's near 80-year history, what this man has done in all of basketball, for all of basketball. You know what I'm talking about? It wasn't pretty, and it didn't have to be. Because goddamn it, if it was pretty, ooh shit, this would be another different discussion. But he was able to do what he was able to do with a trademark shot that was anything less than stellar, and he was able to do it, and he was able to score that motherfucker over 38,000 times on one motherfucking shot that was damn near unstoppable. Only two motherfuckers have blocked it. I think it was Robert Parrish and another motherfucker. But I seen the game where Robert Parrish had blocked it, though. Shout out to anime god Dante. He says, salute, Big Major. Salute, salute, salute. A Laker girl. She says, salute, Major Bro. Hit that like button. Hit the subscribe button if you're new to this movement. Shout out to Laker girl. Please go subscribe to her channel right the hell now. A shout out to a GOAT James, a.k.a. a Chris, a.k.a. let me cook this nigga right quick. My damn cousin. You know what I'm talking about? A shout out to African Gamer. Says, salute, shout out to African Gamer. I appreciate y'all for showing up. You know what I'm saying? I know this was a daunting show. You know what I'm saying? There might have been some parts where it may have gotten a little boring or whatever the case may be, because, like I say, Kareem is a guy that predates a lot of you guys. He predates a lot of you guys. When he was leaving out, some of you guys were coming into the world. When he was leaving out, some of you guys were too old to even know what too young to even know what a basketball was. When he was coming out, some of y'all may have been old enough or been born, but might not even start checking out basketball until after he left. He retired in 1989. Ladies and gentlemen, that was 36 years ago. That's a long time that's almost 40 years he's been gone from the NBA. And I'm proud to say that I've seen 12 years of his career from 1977 to 1988. 1989. I've seen 10 NBA championships from the Lakers from 1980 up to 2019. In the history of basketball, high school, college, and the majors, I've never known a player to have accomplished more in basketball in its entirety. Kareem has always been amongst the greatest, or the greatest, wherever he played. He was the greatest in high school. He was the greatest in college. And for a time, he was the greatest in the NBA. He was the greatest on all three scales, ladies and gentlemen. And he went out of here with grace and dignity. Never having too many scandals. There was one scandal surrounding Kareem back in the 70s. If y'all want to know about that, y'all can ask me another time. Because that would take up a whole nother show. There was one scandal involving him, involving his family or whatever. But just to give y'all a little bit of homework, I want y'all to look up something called the Hanafi murders. The Hanafi murders. Those of y'all that don't know, the Hanafi murders. I think it's Hanafi. The Hanafi murders. Look up the Hanafi murders in Philadelphia. I forgot what year it was, and Kareem's connection. I say he had anything to do with it, but it was his house that was involved. He had a house in Philadelphia, I believe it was, and that something like that occurred. That situation occurred. But look up the Hanafi murders. Just look those up. And then you can do the research for yourself, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. I remember being a kid hearing about that. That's how I know. Like I say, way before there was a Google, way before there was a Yahoo Answers, way before there was a Wikipedia. Ladies and gentlemen, I just lived in that time where we didn't need it because I lived in the middle of that time. I don't have to Google anything because I was there. I predate Google. I was there. You want to know about 1989? You can look it up, but I can tell you what it was about. You want to know about 1985? You can look it up, but I could tell you what it was about because I was there. You want to know about 1979? You can look it up, but I could tell you about it. Even though I was a little kid, I still remember some elements to that time. I remember when Magic came over, and it was just ridiculous. It was just a ridiculous time, ladies and gentlemen. You know, and he was able to get some things accomplished and do some things that, you know, people wouldn't have normally been able to do at those times. The people frowned upon it. You know, it was crazy, but coming up at a time where prejudice and racism existed, this dude broke through those barriers at UCLA and at New York City College, Catholic College. And then in his early upstarts in the NBA and in Milwaukee and then with the Lakers, having fought through all of that, this dude comes out on top. And Kareem, still here with us, 78 years old, on hand when LeBron broke his record, shook his hand, and pretty much gave him the basketball. And said, "Here you go, son." It took 34 and a half years for somebody to break my record. Now I bestow upon you another 35 years that it may take. Somebody may never break this record again. But he passed that golden basketball over. He passed that scepter over and said, "Now you stand alone on Mount Olympus in all-point score, ladies and gentlemen." But in the game of basketball, Kareem is the greatest basketball player in the history of basketball. Period, point blank. African Gamer said, well before I was born. Yep, absolutely. 1989. Go James says, "It's nasty. Kareem does get looked at as closely because of his skill and all around, because he's not a Baker or a perimeter player. No, he's not. He's not. He had one move, and that one move was so effective that he used to kill motherfuckers. And to this day, it's still one of the most, if not the most unstoppable move in all of the NBA. African Gamer says Kareem was out there killing niggas. He was destroying them with one fucking move. He didn't imagine if Kareem had a bag. Imagine if Kareem had a 3-point shot later in his career, developed the 3-point shot. Imagine if he had a so-called bag that everybody like to say, because you could do all these contortion, circular, circus shots and all that crazy shit, and you look flared, you could jump from the free throw line. Imagine if he could do all the shit Jordan could do, all the shit LeBron could do, all the shit Kobe could do, all the shit Dr. J could do, all the shit Steph could do, all the shit Harden could do, all the shit Luka could do. Imagine if that motherfucker had all those bags. And then that trusty, reliable, but unpretty skyhook. Ladies and gentlemen, it wouldn't be a motherfucking discussion. There wouldn't be no LeBron, no Jordan, no Magic, no Bird, no Ewing, no Barkley, no Malone, no Stockton, no Isaiah Thomas. It wouldn't be no Kevin Durant, no Harden, nobody. If anybody was to be the logo, it should be Kareem's motherfucking skyhook, since it was one of the most unstoppable shot there is. And B, when he came into basketball, he immediately impacted the sport. First of all, coming in with a Muslim name, immediately impacting the sport of basketball and dominating with one motherfucking move. If anybody's gonna get the right to the logo change, it should be Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. That's really the first signature shot in all of the NBA. The skyhook. That's a signature shot. So what is ugly? So what it ain't flared, it ain't got sparkles around it and diamonds glistening around that motherfucker. It was effective. It was so effective that Magic Johnson had to create his own version of the hook after trying to learn it from Kareem. And he could never get it. He said himself, I could never get it quite the way the aerodynamics of it. So Magic Johnson deemed his trademark shot the baby hook. I wish to this day centers would use the sky hook. Wemby said that's a move that he want to perfect. I think he should. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for showing up to the show, a special edition of Major Level Entertainment. I really do appreciate you guys coming in here. Please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you're new to the channel. I got 3 viewers in here. That's cool. A lot of people couldn't sit through that. It's history, it's information, it's education, but it's not fluff. It's not LeBron, it's not Jordan. It's not Ant Edwards, it's not John Morant. It's not those guys. So it's kind of hard to listen to. But I personally had to get up here and give props to this man who I viewed as the GOAT first. You can say who you want to do as the NBA GOAT. I'll no longer argue that point. People say LeBron, people say Jordan. I know how I feel about the situation, but I don't have to talk about it. But I know that the GOAT of basketball in its entirety, nobody's ever done as much as Kareem has done in his career, in the career of basketball. So I'm glad that I was able to share this history with y'all from my vantage point, and it shines another light on Kareem's name and to give him his flowers while he's still here. That was the whole purpose of this show. I'll be doing legends like this just about all the time, as many as I can think of, forgotten legends and people who have, people have just tucked off in the history because all these new players are doing all this amazing shit. Let me show you the motherfucker that started doing it when it was unpretty, unsexy, and unpopular. Ladies and gentlemen, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Thank you for showing up to the channel. I appreciate it. Nephew said I'm still here. I appreciate that, man, coming in here and learning a little bit of history from your damn cousin, your uncle, your big brother, your boy, Big Major. On behalf of everybody on Major Level Entertainment, this is Big Major on behalf of the Major Level Mafia. I'm out till next show. Peace and blessings, y'all. Please go back and listen in to the show if you forgot anything. All right. Peace.
If you're wondering about Freeman Williams, he's come off a Gene Shoes bench and poured in 16 points tonight. Points off Shoes bench, only 14 for McKinney. Ford will inbounds it. Bryant's on him. The clock will start when it is touched by someone inbound. Ford's got time. Spencer Haywood is out there. Nixon, Magic Johnson, and Kareem. Ford sends it to Kareem. Sky hook up and good. Lakers win. Score it. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar has given the Los Angeles Lakers a victory, and Magic Johnson is out there celebrating like they just won the NCAA championship. Hot Rod Hundley is out there. We've got Magic Man and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.